The O'Reilly Factor's on tonight.
The thing that's really disturbing about Noah isn't the silly. It's that it's immoral. It's about a psychotic mass murderer who gets away with it, and his name is God.
The anti-religion movement in America taking a toll as atheism is on the rise and Christianity on the decline. We'll have a shocking new poll tonight.
It's devastating. He was only 25 years old.
The anti-police movement in America also taking a toll. Police killings up 89% in 1 year. We'll tell you all about that.
So, good, bad, and different. There's a lot of people that don't like Tom Brady.
And that might include the NFL commissioner, who has suspended the star quarterback for a quarter of next season. But is it legal to do that? Real and Guilfoyle on the case. Caution. You are about to enter the no-spin zone. Factor begins right now. Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight. A Changing America. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. Interesting poll from the Associated Press about immigration. When asked, do you favor or oppose providing a legal way for illegal immigrants already in the USA to stay in the country legally, 50% favor, 48% oppose. When asked, do you favor or oppose providing a way for immigrants who live in the USA illegally, but whose children are U.S. citizens or permanent residents, to stay legally, 57% favor, 40% oppose. Polls taken among American adults. Another finding, 3/4 of Republicans say they would prefer a candidate who would undo President Obama's executive actions on immigration. So there's a big split between Democrats and Republicans. But the majority, according to the AP poll, would consider policies that are beneficial to illegal aliens. That's a change. On the religious front, another poll, very provocative. According to a Pew Research study of more than 35,000 American adults, Christianity's on the decline. 2007, 78.4% of Americans described themselves as Christian. Last year, 2014, that number drops to 70.6%. Among the non-Christian faiths, Jewish Americans up slightly, Muslims up half a percentage point to just under 1% of the population. However, the biggest growing segment of religion, those who reject it. Atheists, agnostic, nothing, up 50% to 22.8% of the population now. So what's happening? There's no question that people of faith are being marginalized by a secular media and pernicious entertainment. The rap industry, for example, often glorifies depraved behavior, and that sinks into the minds of some young people, the group that is most likely to reject religion. Also, many movies and TV shows promote non-traditional values. Truth is, if you are a person of faith, the media generally thinks you are a loon. The prevailing wisdom, especially among young Americans, is whatever's good for me is good, period. The overall good be damned. Pardon the pun. We see that reflected in the attitude on drugs. There's a strong move to legalize them and decriminalize even the sale of poisons like heroin and cocaine. Any student of history knows that when a nation turns inward towards the pursuit of individual gratification, the country's in trouble. Rome, the best example. The citizens there ultimately rejected sacrificing for their republic, I should say, and the empire collapsed. Talking Points believes the same thing is happening in America today, but it can be fixed if the electorate finally wakes up. That is a big if. The main reason Christianity is on the decline is poor leadership and corruption within the Catholic Church. The priest scandal devastated the Catholic landscape in America. Although the Founding Fathers wanted freedom of religion, they did not want a secular nation. That's clear in the writings of Jefferson and Madison. The founders believing that a strong moral code put forth by religion protects people from harm and avarice. On the immigration front, chaos is simply overwhelming. Americans remain essentially a fair people. They know the system's broken, and they know our leaders are playing politics with people's lives. There is a fair way to deal with illegal immigration, and Americans want that put into place. Adding it all up, there's no question the country is changing for the worse. And that's why the upcoming election is perhaps the most important presidential vote in our lifetime. And that's the memo. Now for the top story tonight reaction, joining us from Washington, Guy Benson, political editor of townhall.com and a Fox News contributor. And from Austin, Texas, Marjorie Clifton, a Democratic consultant. So where am I going wrong here, Marjorie?
Well, the idea that we're going to hell in a handbasket, Bill, because the reality is, if you look back generationally, since the Civil War, since the Iliad was written, people have always believed this is the worst generation and things are going wrong. And I think the reality is there's darkness and light in all that you talked about. The light is on immigration reform, and that has been something that has been largely prompted by the faith community, by the way, and Bibles, Badges, and Business, where you've had leaders from across the faith and business communities coming together saying, this is common sense, this is good for America, and by the way, this supports Christian values and religious values alike around social justice.
Are you a amnesty person, Marjorie?
I am about comprehensive immigration before.
I don't know what that means. Let me pose it again.
Citizenship.
I don't know what that means. Are you an amnesty person? Would you give amnesty to people, illegal aliens here? Would you give amnesty to them?
I would give path to citizenship for those who are here, but that means by getting right by the law. That means paying fines. It means doing it the right way.
And you can define it any way you want.
And you have to look at it. Yeah, and millennials, the generation that we're losing in religion, also 50% of them are independents. They do believe in those kinds of things and are, I think, rightly skeptical of politics. And that's actually a good thing.
We're not talking about politics now. We're talking about the loss of traditional religion in the country. Now, Mr. Benson, how do you see it?
Yeah.
Well, Bill, I think that when you look at societal mores and values, they have to be rooted in something deeper than just individual conscience or, buzzwords or platitudes. They have to be based on an underpinning of what we believe and why we believe it.
But those beliefs are changing, all right? You see it in gay marriage, legalization of marijuana. You see it in how the society views its obligation to the country. All right, most people don't even think about what their obligation to America is, military aside, of course. But Mr. Benson, come on. You must see there's a profound change going on right now, and these polls indicate that.
Yeah, there's definitely some changes. Some of them are good. Some of them are less than good. My fear is when we start to lose sight of the fact that our values are undergirded by the Judeo-Christian ethic on which this country was founded, we start to drift towards sort of moral and cultural relativism like we've seen in a secularized Europe. And I think overall that's not something that we should welcome in this country.
There's no question that's happening. But you don't see that as a bad thing, Marjorie, do you? You want a secular nation in the shadow of Western Europe. You like that system, correct?
Well, no, I'm actually a practicing Catholic, and what I do see as a challenge is the move away from religion as any kind of a value. No one religion has all the answers. So where I do see value is diversification. We are seeing a rise in Judaism and Muslim in this country and other faiths that is by proxy of immigration. Small, right. Now, where you're talking about secular, you're right. That what we are seeing, though, is a self-correction, and I'm hoping, as we've seen through history in the Catholic faith.
Self-correction in what way? There's no self-correction.
Okay. Bill, as a Catholic, Pope Francis has already done wonders in terms of the healing and the restorative process that needed to happen in the Catholic Church.
He's a pope in Rome. He's not in the United States. There's no self-correction here. We're headed for the cliff here as far as our values are concerned. We're rejecting all traditional values now. We want a whole different society, and you know that's happening. Come on, all right, I got to go over to Mr. Benson for it. Now, listen, Guy, you're talking in platitudes. You know that the profound change in this country is affecting every American. It's affecting who we elect, all right? It's affecting what the government should provide. We're now a welfare society, okay? All of these things are in play because instead of looking out what's best for the country, many Americans, perhaps most, are looking within. What can they do for me, right?
I think there's a large element of truth to that, Bill. And I think, again, going back to the example of a secularized Europe, when you have that reality, I think people are much more willing to sort of cede ground to the state and potentially to more aggressive religions that might not share our values. So, look, I think the point that you made about this real increase in the number of Americans who are ambivalent toward faith, if not atheistic or agnostic, that is, I think, a moment for the church, Big C church, to maybe engage in some self-reflection about why.
There's no leadership in this country. I mean, there's a few Protestant ministers that step up, a few rabbis, very few Catholic leaders step up. It's not there. And unless it magically appears, and that's possible, could be a miracle, it's going to continue to decline. Thank you both. Next on the rundown, all the anti-police rhetoric may be leading to more cops being shot dead. We'll give you the stats. Also, Tom Brady, perhaps the biggest football star in the country, gets whacked. Is it legal? Looking at that moments away.